making sure I'm on the right thing. Usually we cheat, see, and we get to see the PowerPoint up on the screen over here, but earlier it was doing its overlapping of screens, and now you don't see a screen at all. So if I'm not on the right slide, just have to holler at me, wave at me or something. Anyway, the title of the message today is, What Do You Hold to Be True? And several things got me to thinking about this message, and one was a quote on Facebook that we're going to use in a little bit, and also this new book I'm reading titled Making Moments Matter, and it was gifted to me by the author Larry Dennis, who came to service here one Sunday while he was visiting his son in Conyers, and he's actually from Oregon, goes to Unity Church there. And the whole book is about more about business practices and stuff. It's still a good read. Anyway, and then also thinking about comments people make, including myself, or have made, about the values or lack thereof of teenagers and young adults. And so today we will explore values and virtues and how they influence our lives and how, if we look at them, they can help us understand what we hold to be true. But let us first affirm our statements of truth together, please.
I am a child of God.
I am deserving of good in my life. I am accepting my good now. Thank you. Well, when I was reading the part of the book that was about defining core values, my initial reaction was that how organizations define core values, but we don't always look at them on a personal level, or concepts for ourselves. Larry states in the book, it's up there, core values are so fundamental and deeply held that they are unchangeable. While you have many beliefs that may fluctuate over a lifetime, they are non-negotiable because they are what you are. And I get this because core values basically are truth words and truth concepts. And whether we resonate with all of them or not, that's okay because they are all within us just as truth is. And you might even have different sets of core values depending on where you're at. For example, you might have one set of core values for your family and a different set of core values for your friends, or vice versa. You might even have some core values at your workplace, but a different set of core values for your spiritual community. And of course, when it comes to leisure time and playing, you might have values that are definitely different than what you would have in a conversation with your parents. So core values are also similar to the 12 powers. We all have them within us, and we strive to live by them, and we strive to bring them out into our living world, and they can be guideposts for us as we go through life. The difference between the 12 powers and core values is that core values became kind of a buzzword around 1994. While the 12 powers were actually written, the book itself was written in 1930, and Fillmore even mentions some about 12 powers in his first book, Christian Healing, which was before that. But there's an article in the 2002 Harvard Business Review about Jim Collins and Jerry Porras, who published a book in 1994 titled Built to Last. And here's what they say. The book made the case that many of the best companies adhere to a set of principles called core values, provoking managers to stampede to off-site meetings in order to conjure up some core values of their own. The values fad swept through corporate America like chickenpox through a kindergarten class. I thought that was hilarious, and that's true. That's exactly what happened. Today, 80% of the Fortune 100 tout their values publicly, values that too often stand for nothing but a desire to be off or on, or we're still politically correct. And I think a lot of people have seen that, haven't they, with companies? They have their core value, but they don't really live by it. And this even happens with churches, believe it or not. It's not just businesses out there. Here at Unity East, we have a set of core values that were developed before we ever even got here. And I remember seeing them in some box somewhere at one point when we first got here, and I tried to look for them, but I couldn't find them. But I don't think anybody could tell me what they were, or what the ones that were here when they did that and delved into them. And that's okay because they're not in the forefront of our minds. You know, a lot of people post their core values up on the wall and read them every day or are exposed to them every day. And then so that kind of changes the awareness. But does that mean that they don't exist? Kind of like the 12 powers. We all know what the 12 powers are, but can we really define them, or are we living by them every day, or are we even thinking about them on a daily basis? You know, same kind of thing. They exist, but we might not be putting them in the forefront of our mind. But we know here at Unity East that we do live by core values, or else we all wouldn't be here right now. You know, we are a loving, diverse community that is transparent, welcoming, full of integrity, and raising consciousness, aren't we? Everybody go woo-hoo. Because we live from truth. We are here to serve a purpose and be a positive path for spiritual living. In fact, Bonnie posted a beautiful thing on Facebook about an article that was posted on there and by Janice Van Ness, and it was great what you wrote, Bonnie. I thought it was a beautiful tribute to this congregation and this ministry. But we know and feel this at the depth of our soul. It came through with Bonnie's writing too on that post. But we state these truths, and outside of here on a daily basis, it might be a bit more difficult to live from them. The slip of paper that you received when you entered the sanctuary is actually one of 52 virtues. And virtues are a lot like values, core values. There's not usually 52 core values, but some of the core values are actually taken off the list of virtues, if that makes sense. So you've got to slip a slip of one of the 52 virtues, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. But every month you've been receiving a slip of paper that defines the 12 powers. And this month, of course, is divine order. And, you know, on that little slip of paper, some basic information. If you post it somewhere where you're actually looking at it every day, it might help remind you to keep that in the forefront of your mind and strive to live from that each and every day throughout the month. The affirmation from divine order, though, is perfect for this message today. Oh, there's the 52 virtues. In case you wanted to know. The affirmation is perfect for today. Let's say it together. My life is in balance and in order, and all is well. See, the reason we explore these truths, the reason why we explore core values or virtues or 12 powers, is to find that balance in our lives, to be able to live from that place where we know that Christ within is expressing through us, through these values or virtues. And that brings me to the idea of the teenagers and young adults. How many of you have ever said or thought, wow, what is this world going to be like when these guys are in charge? I know I've said it. You know, and we say it sometimes, we make these judgments sometimes, not really knowing why we're making those judgments. Hey, Mickey, you can probably open that door now. I think the sun's probably moved enough. Yeah. And we make these judgments on that age group that are millennials. And millennials are born after, again, the PowerPoint did a deal. This should say after the early 1980s, okay? But Gene Twigg, the author of the book 2000 book Generation Me, considers millennials, along with younger members of Generation X, to be part of what she called Generation Me. Twigg attributes millennials with the traits of confidence and tolerance, which are good, but also identifies a sense of entitlement and narcissism. Maybe that's where we're getting that, I lied about the door. Sorry. It's come back. It's glaring in my eyes. Anyway, maybe that's where we get that idea of, that generation of the thinking that, what's going to happen when they're in charge. But I'm going to explain a little bit more about this, because what happened was when I read this, I thought about the idea of core values and virtues and 12 powers, and how we all have our own little take about them, don't we? And what if all of this is in alignment and we are just holding on to a different aspect of these truths? Maybe it's still aligned with these younger ones. And Jerry brought up a good point when we were blessing the shoes, that we see Aiden being able to be in that place of divine guidance and being able to see him as a child of God and know that that unity is within him. And we've done that with these kids. I know all my kids, I've sat there and told them how great they are, how much they can do. We want the best for them. We've told them they are the best. We've created this world around them where no wonder they might come off looking like entitlement and narcissism, but really what we were doing was wanting to empower them to be the best that they could be. So maybe it's our old embedded culture looking through the lens of that makes us think that they can't eventually run the world. You see? Because we know that all of us have those virtues and those values and those 12 powers within us. We all do, even the little children, even baby Aiden. And all we have to do is keep empowering that. And that empowerment that we have done with these kids, and now they're young adults and teenagers, is what we wanted for us. Because we were giving them that confidence. So that confidence might look different to us, but yet this is what we held to be true for them. So we have to switch our awareness. We have to switch what lens we're looking through and see that as a good thing. The idea of narcissism is self-love. And don't we all wish we loved ourselves more than what we do? And didn't we create that with our children? Didn't we tell our children, we love you all the time? I know my dad never said he loved me until I was 35 years old and I pointed it out to him. And then it became sarcasm, But I told my kids every day, all day long. Every time I saw them, I still tell them, I love you. I tell all of you I love you. Because we have to be able to love ourselves to get beyond that. So if that's what we want to do is send love to other people and we want to be that love, maybe we've already empowered this younger generation with that, and that's what they're trying to bring forth, and we just aren't seeing it the same way. And it totally makes sense if you know that the Christ is within all of us, and all of those gifts that we are given are within all of us. Different people express them different ways. And so this is what brought me to these questions, which was, why is it so, and why can't they see the highest good? And then I put it back on me, why can't I see the highest good in them? And it's because I have made my own ideas and ideals, and my ideas, the virtues I treasure, more important than anybody else's. One of my favorite, I want to say this first, though, because the idea is that we all come from that oneness of the ultimate, omniscient, wonderful God that is abundant and is in our lives. And, we can live by that. We know we can live by some of these virtues. So can other people. And I'm not talking about just the younger generation at this point. It's not just us making judgments on millennials, because sometimes we do it on our elders or our peers, don't we? We make judgments on how they see things, not seeing it from an open lens. Not taking off those glasses of judgment and saying, hey, it's okay. We all come from where we come from. I think sometimes our minds go to that place of fear. Fear that someone else might have something that we want, or they're not doing it the way we want it done, or that we are concerned that somebody else is not going to see the value within us. If they're acting that way, then they don't value us. If they're acting that way, then they're not respecting us. I know I've said that before, and it's not about that. That's the good thing about values and virtues and the 12 powers. That if we go to that place of that judgment, then all we're doing is creating chaos and distrust in our lives, and who wants to live from that? I know one of the most important virtues that was for me for the longest time was trustworthiness. And trustworthiness is being worthy of trust. People can count on you to do your best, to keep your word and follow through on your commitments. You do what you say you will do. Trustworthiness is a key to success in anything you do. Now, this was very important in my life. It still is. I feel like I do live from that. The problem was, for me, I thought, if I can live by this, then by golly, so can everybody else. And if anybody else ever crossed any one of those, or I thought that somebody was lying to me, because I'm very intuitive, you pick up that energy, or whatever, then I was like, how dare you do that to me? How can I even trust you? How can I even include you in my circle of life, And it's not about that, is it? No, because that goes back to the judgment and the chaos and the distrust. I can make trustworthiness an important virtue for me and make it important in my life, but that doesn't mean I have to say that all of you have to be trustworthy too, because that might not be important to you. One of those other ones, maybe the one you have in your hand right now, is the most important virtue for you. Maybe not. But what was the turning point for me was that, was looking at the virtue of trust. Because trust is having faith in someone or something. It is a positive attitude about life. You are confident that the right thing will happen without trying to control it or make it happen. Even when difficult things happen, trust helps us to find the gift or lesson in it. Sounds a lot like divine order, really, to me. And it also sounds totally like a unity principle. And that was a turning point, because then I realized maybe what I want to do is just be able to trust. And who can I trust? Still not anybody out here or out there in the world. It's me. I have to use that virtue for myself. And then I will see through the eyes of trust. And there won't be any judgment or chaos or distrust. Because all I have to do is every morning wake up and trust myself. And that's what it's all about. And that's what these virtues are. They're a point for yourself to grow. And we learn about them, the 12 powers, the virtues, the values. We learn about them to deepen our own spiritual growth, to feel within ourselves a self-love that we know we can adhere to that or try to expand that in our life. And that's how we spiritually grow. But now I might be starting to sound like a narcissistic millennial. And that's okay. I'm not. But, it is that healthy narcissistic behavior is that idea of self-love. And the more we self-love each other, ourselves, then guess what? We don't go to any of those other places. We don't go to judgment and stuff. Because we feel so good inside. That's what I love about meditation. I mean, even Reverend Warren doing his meditation today, when he first started talking, all I was thinking about is my message. And then I said, stop that, stop. Just go to the meditation. And I have trigger words that I practice, like God is, or the Christ within me. I can say those and kind of just sink in. And it's beautiful when you do that, because in that moment of meditation that's what this is about. It's about the Christ within. It's about that essence of God being within me and expressing from me. And that's why we need to practice this. That's why we need to have key words that you picked up today to expand on, to grow with. It changes our whole life. And I think that the millennials are just an example for us to look at new perspective to old thoughts. All that they are expressing is, and if anybody here is a millennial, I don't know, are you? Yeah, I wasn't quite sure how old you were. Are you on the edge? Yeah. I know Mark is a little older than that, so. But the thing about it is, if you are, Mickey's one.
The kids are millennials.
Ashley's one, so I didn't know if she was going to be here or not when I first wrote this. But anyway, I think the whole idea is that they are modeling to us a new way to look at things, a new behavior, a new perspective on life that we can embrace for ourselves. And I don't want to beat us up. I'm a baby boomer, whatever the generations are after that, there's Generation X in between. But I don't want to beat any of us up. I think that we've all done a great job of raising consciousness over time, or else we wouldn't be where we are right now. And that's what it's about. But we have to continue that spiral of raising that consciousness. And we can. And we can do this through the virtue of, believe it or not, unity. Unity is a virtue. Did you know that? Unity helps us work and live together peacefully. We feel connected with each other and all living things. We value the specialness of each person as a gift, not as a reason to fight or be scared. With unity, we accomplish more together than any one of us could alone. Don't you love that? And I think that could be our new statement, a beingness, you know, because if we just stay with that in our minds, it keeps us on that spiritual. I started to say high. It is. It's like a spiritual high. We know it. We can live from it. We can be it, because we are all unity, and all the generations together are lifting the consciousness of the world with our thoughts, words, and actions, aren't we? And here's the Bible quote I found from the Facebook post that I thought was just really got me started on this. Galatians 6:9. Let's read it together. And let us not grow weary while doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we do not lose heart. Don't you love that? And this little thing here, sometimes in the middle of my little mess, I forget how big blessed I am. Yeah. When we grow spiritually, when we go to that place, it's going to make us more prosperous in all areas of our life. It's not just about money. It's about everything. And of course, Myrtle Fillmore gave us these wise words. She said, those who are prosperous and successful are the people who have a rich consciousness. They open their minds to rich ideas. Everybody here does that, right? Yes. And then cash in on these ideas in an outer way. The people who are famous and successful are the ones who have developed their innate abilities and use the success-producing ideas that have come to them. Those innate abilities are all of these virtues, all of these powers, core values. That's what it is. That's innate abilities that are so freely given to us to be able to express in the world. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. It's beautiful. You know, from the prayer shawls that we give to Jerry bringing those shoes today, all of the things. I mean, bringing flowers for us to share, raising that money at trivia night. All of those things are raising and using what we have. You know, we look in our purse and we might have $3, but you see that $3 came together with those other $3 and build up to be $650. That is raising consciousness, people. That is prosperity. Not just for the $650 that is going to help this ministry, but it is also the idea of all of us coming together in unity, which is powerful. And that's what we thrive on and grow on. Businesses, executives, and even churches develop core values to guide them to a living better, more successful life. And are they enriching their consciousness doing that? I hope so. I hope that's what they're doing it for. I hope they're not doing it just to be politically correct. But whatever virtue you receive today, I invite you to strive to incorporate it or utilize it in your life if you aren't already doing so. And even if it was already an important virtue for you, look at it again. Pray about it again. Take it a little deeper again. And whatever comes to you, bring it forth. Because that can bring that balance into your life. It can bring the balance of mind, body, and spirit and make you be more successful, make you have a higher consciousness, enrich your whole spiritual growth. And as Unity Truth students, we know that we do have an abundant toolbox of values, virtues, and 12 powers to utilize on our spiritual journey, don't we?
Yes.
Which not only make us spiritually aware, but also spiritually successful, enriching our lives beyond what we thought was possible. And so I say to you, isn't it time for you to define what you hold to be true? Thank you for being here today. God bless you.